All right. All right. So,
coffee since my brother's picking up creamer.
we got to finish before he comes back.
Yeah.
So that's today's goal. All right. So we left off at the bottom of Yudchas to the Yudchas on base by the Mishnah at the bottom. Mishnah says, bring back to the bottom. Ein kaisvin, we're talking about different sort of malachas being done. So ein kaisvin shtari chov b'moed. One cannot go ahead and write a shtari chov, a loan document on chalamoid. It's unnecessary ksiva, which is according to many, is a ma'isa uman. The eino ma'amino, however, he's got to get a guy who needs a loan and he does not believe that he'll pay back. O she'elo ma'yechel, or that the sofer does not have what to eat, he needs a parnasa. Harei ze yichtov. Then you can go ahead and write this shtari chov. In kaisin tefillin mezuzas b'moed. One cannot go ahead and write seifrim tefillin mezuzas like a seifr cannot work on b'moed. And they can't even, fix one letter. I feel the Sefer Ezra. Even the Sefer Ezra, right? There's Sefer Ezra or Sefer Azara. Two different gears, right? So one is basically the same thing, though. One is a Sefer that Ezra, the Ezra wrote, and it is kept in the Mikdash to compare. If there was some sort of issue with other Sefer Torah, they would compare it to say this Torah is written by Ezra, or some say it was the Sefer Azara, was the one kept in Azara also for its accuracy. Nevertheless, even if it's one letter there, you can't even fix it. A person go ahead and he can write tefillin mezuzas for himself. He can all do that for himself. He can't do it as a parnasa to sell to others, but if he needs tefillin mezuzah, he can do it for himself. And he can also go ahead and spin, right, in a non-normal way, right? Al Yerecho normally use a spindle, but you can do it in a non-normal way on his lap when it comes to the tzitzis for the wool of the tzitzis. Fine, that was the Mishnah. Zog the Gemara, top of Yud Testament. A person go ahead and write tefillin and mezuzah for himself. No, it's not for commerce, but for himself. And he can also go ahead and spin the wool with the tcheles, the blue. The tzitzis for tzitzis on his lap.
That's only in the case where he doesn't have a pair.
One second. Rashi does not say that, and the Gemara will specifically point out that that's not the case, or how to understand it, right? So, but he can do it for himself. I just want to, before I come in, that's Divrei Meir. That's the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda Meir. So Rabbi Yehuda says that one step more than we understood it till now. Rabbi Yehuda said that that a person can even go ahead and let's say he wants to sell it. I want to make $500. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and sell you. So I can't write for the purposes of right. I can't write tefillin to sell it to you because that's doing commerce. What I could do is I'm allowed to sell my tefillin to you. You're allowed to sell things. I'll sell you my tefillin and then I write for myself. So it's really, in essence, the same thing. It's Harama, right? He's doing a sort of a little trick, right? So instead of me, right, I have a new tefillin, so okay, I'll sell you mine, and I'll make mine for myself. So I never made tefillin out of chalamoid for somebody else. I made it for myself, and I could sell you my used tefillin, so therefore everything is okay, according to Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Yisrael, no, a person go ahead and write and sell the normal way in order to go ahead and for a parnasa to go ahead and to sustain himself. And Urilei Rav, the Rav Chanano, Rav Chanano, some say Rav Chanano, Rav Chanano, halacha, the halacha is kaisiv kadei. A person go ahead and write and sell kaderech the normal way in order for parnasa, in order for his.
Still uman,
So it is a ma'aser, right? So kadei parnasaso, right? You have to, it doesn't. I don't think it means in order for him to become rich, but it means for him to support himself, right? The Tavia Yerechot Tcheles, and he go ahead and spin the Tcheles upon his lap in an abnormal way. So a person go ahead and spin it on his lap, right, instead of doing the normal way with the spindle, right, for tzitzis. But now with an evan, or now with a rock, which is similar to a spindle. It's not exactly a spindle, but it's similar. You can't even do a rock. It's too much mais uman. No, you can even use a stone because it's not the normal way, even though it's just as good, right? Never it's not the normal way. And Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Mishma Rabbi says his name, Be'evan, Avaloi b'felach, we can go. He says no, you can use this. So af be'avin you can't use. Right, that was the chamim. And Rabbi Yehuda says no, you can use the stone, but you can't use a spindle. Chamim ma'imrim bein avin u'bein b'felach, but he says no. Chamim say whether it's with a stone or with a spindle, then you can go ahead and spin it the normal way. You can do it any way you want in order to go ahead and make tchelas for your tzitzis on Chol Hamoed. And Amar Rav Yidom Shmuel b'chein Rav Chia bar Abba Rav Yechon halacha b'yevin b'felach. What the halacha is certainly on your lap, and even if it, with a stone or even with a spindle, you're allowed to go ahead and do it. The halacha is also when it comes to the safras, the person can go ahead and write normally and sell it in order kadei parasaso, in order to go ahead and provide for his family. Fine. Now Mishnah says, "Hakoiver es meso shloisha yomim kaidem l'regel." One who goes ahead and he buries his meso, right? Somebody who would have to go ahead and sit shiva for. So he buries, right? So if it was 3 days before kaidem l'regel, batla heimena gzeros shiva, his shiva is over. But it's 3 days, right? Our Mishnah talks about 3 days, right? So 3 days before, then the shiva is over. Shmona.
The day before. Why is it
The Mishnah says, it's the Mishnah.
3 days he buried.
Right, I purposely said, right, that, so in order people not to confuse with Common Day Halacha, but that was, right, you're asking from Common Day Halacha, which we didn't get that. So this is the first line of the Mishnah. Shmona, 8 days before. But Laimena Gezeras Shloshim. If it was 8 days before, so then you have 7 days of Shiva, then 1 day, and then therefore the Shloshim is batal. Now remember also that the Shloshim does not get counted after the Shiva. Rather, the Shloshim starts from the same day as the Shiva like we do nowadays. Mipnei Sha'amru Shabbos Oila Ve'inav. Second, because they say when it comes to Shabbos, it counts as one of the 7 days or one of the 30 days. Ve'inav Second, it does not stop the count. As you continue counting afterwards, right? Let's say you do 1, 2, Shabbos is 3, then you pick up with day 4, 5, right? And a regalim, when it comes to holidays, mafsikin, then where mafsik, it stops. They don't count, it's not counted at all, and it stops it. And Rabbi Yezer, when Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, and there was no more 7 days to bring karbanos afterwards, people would bring the tashlumin, atzeres keshabbos. The holiday of Shavuos is treated like Shabbos. In other words, it's just a day where basically they just stop the avelus during the Shavuos, but then they pick up counting afterwards. And Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippurim, Regalim. No, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are Regalim. They stop it. Like the Rizeh, Ela Atzeres Regalim. Rather, Shavuos is like Regalim, that it cuts it off, right? That it cuts off Avelus. Assumingly, it means it was 3 days before, right? We'll still see in the Gemara. And Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippurim, Shabbos. And over there, in the Mishnah, it says Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is like Shabbos. That you actually keep counting past Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. You just do minhag avelus on the Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur. Fine. So that was the Mishnah, right? And obviously, as Eddie pointed out, right? This is, a lot of these, some of these are halachas, a lot of these are not halachas that we hold nowadays, as we'll soon see in the Gemara. So Amar Rab, says Rab, Gezeiros batlu yamim le batlu. So says Rab, when a holiday comes along, right, the shloshim, those are batul. In other words, those is batul, the minhagim. However, we'll soon see the days, you still count the shloshim. So even though, let's say it's day 8, right? Day 8, we said the shloshim is the yontif, right? So it's 8 days before, that night is so we say cuts off shloshim, so it only cuts off the gezeras, right? The different decrees in terms of what it has to do, but it doesn't cut off the counting of the 30 days. We'll soon see what the nafkamin is. Gezeras batlu, yamim lebatlu. The gezeras are batlu, right? That which they have to do are batlu, but the days are still counted. Even the days are also counted. So my timer, what's going on? What's the reason? My time yamim lebatlu. Why do you say the days are not batlu? So we say like this. The reason why Yontif cuts it off is because we want a person to go ahead and tidy up for Yontif. So if it's on the 8th day, so the Shiva is over, 8th day, Yontif is coming, so you can go ahead and prepare and shave for Yontif. If he doesn't go ahead and do it, if he doesn't take his opportunity on Erev Yontif that you're supposed to do, we allowed you to get out of it. You can go ahead and shave. If he doesn't shave Erev Yontif, you know what? We're continuing the shloshim. Right? So the days are still counted. You can no longer shave even after. If he would have shaved Erev Yantif, then he'd go ahead and shave afterwards. But if he didn't shave before, right? Shim lo gilach Erev HaRegel, asur l'gilach achar regel. Vatanyas, we learn in the Brisa. Hakoiver, turn the page. Hakoiver es meso shloshi yom kodem l'regel. If a person goes ahead and buries his dead, his relative, 3 days before the regel, but lahai meno gzeir shiva. Then the 7 days is cut off, right? So the 7 days, the shiva is cut off there. Shmona, 8 days. Shori yom kodem l'regel, but lahai meno gzeir shloshim done. Megalech, and go ahead and shave. Erev HaRegel. And in lo gilach Erev HaRegel.
Shloshim before it's also the Shloshim, right?
Right. It's only 8 days. It's only 8 days into it. Right. So it would end it. However, it says within Bryce, no gilach Erev HaRegel. If he doesn't go ahead and shave Erev HaRegel, asur l'gilach achar regel. Then it's also for him to go ahead and shave achar regel. And Abba Shaul will say, since he is shita, we're going to hold like him. Mutter l'gilach achar regel. You can still go ahead and shave after regel. Shekshem shemitzah shloishim evateles. Just like the 3, if you sit 3 days, it's mevatel gzeras shiva, the 7 days. Kach mitzvah shiva. So too, after if you count 7 days, mevatel is gzeras shloishim. You can go ahead and cancels. Once you do 7, it's the 7 days, and it's mevatel the shloishim. So once a shiva, what do you mean the 7? Our mission was saying 8 days. So Tanan. So Ksaver, here's another sheet. The Abba Shaul mixes hayom kakula. The yom eshri oila loy the kan the kan. So he said, no, mixes hayom kakula. Therefore, once the morning of the 7th day starts, that is basically considered to be the 7th day. And now, from the afternoon of the 7th day is already basically the next day. So it counts as both. So therefore, you don't need 8 days, according to Abba Shaul, right? All you need is 7 days, because the 7th day ends in the morning, and then you have the entire day, from 10 a.m. or whatever it is, all right, until the regel is counted as already shloshim as began, and just like shloshim started, therefore it gets knocked out by the yantif. Now, Amar Rav Chizda, Amar Ravina Bar Shila, halach Abba Shaul. The halach is like Abba Shaul. Now, there's 2 areas where we just saw Abba Shaul argues. One is mixed hayom kakulo, and the other one is if he doesn't shave on Erev Yantif, he can still shave afterwards. Shloshim is done. We don't keep counting shloshim. So halach is like Abba Shaul. Umadi b'chalon Abba Shaul. Shechal shmini shalot liyos b'Shabbos Erev HaRegel. We actually saw this earlier that the Chachamim agree that what case to Abba Shaul that if the 8th day. So remember, it was 7 days. The 8th day is Shabbos, right? And Motzei Shabbos is Yantif. So if the 8th day is, if Shabbos is Erev HaRegel, Shemuter l'glech be'erev Shabbos. It's mutter to go ahead and shave at the end of the 7th Erev Shabbos. And so, come on, who is that like? So, come on, so fine, period. Now, come on, Azad Omar, who says this? That then the 7th day, as soon as those who are there in the morning, they're menachem and they leave him, it's mutter to him to go ahead, to go ahead and wash. So come on, Abba Shaul. That's like Abba Shaul because who holds that, as soon, which we do nowadays, right? As soon basically is they have a morning minyan, and those get up in menachem, then basically the shiva is over, and you can go ahead and shower after the morning. And Amar Abai says, Abai, halach Abba Shaul. Halach Abba Shaul b'yom shiva. The halach is like Abba Shaul when it comes to the 7th day. Umadim chachamim Abba Shaul b'yom shlishim. And the chachamim agreed to Abba Shaul on the 30th day, and the shloshim that really makes the same kakula. They agree on that, even though the shiva they hold the chachamim say goes until the night. Nevertheless, when it comes to the shloshim, the morning of the shloshim, that's considered the end of the shloshim. And Rav Amar halach Abba Shaul b'yom shloshim, ve'en halach Abba Shaul b'yom shiva. The halach is like Abba Shaul when it comes to the 30th day, it's done in the morning. But the halach is like Abba Shaul when it comes to the shiva, you have to do full 7 days. But the Hardi Amar and the Hardi they say halach Abba Shaul b'zu u'b'zu. The halach is Abba Shaul, both cases, both in the shiva ends in the morning, and also the shloshim also end in the morning. The halach is like the he who is mekel when it comes to avos. Now shloshim yom menalan. So where do we get this concept of 30 days? So menalan. So yalev para binazir, right? We learn exer shava from Nazir. Ksiv hach, it says over there, it says that when Abai b'nei Aaron, they were told, right, do not, right, altifru, don't go ahead and grow your hair out. Don't go ahead and grow your hair out, i.e. normally they grow their hair out. Ksiv hach, it says there, gadol per ser rosho. It says over there that his hair will grow out, the Nazir will grow out, so that his hair grows out. So just like the Nazir grows out, same word, so too an Avel lets his hair grow out. So each one lets their hair grow out. So we see a Nazir, L'chayr was 30 days. So Malon and Shloshim, just like a Nazir, 30 days growth. Afkan, so over here, Shloshim, so over here. When it comes to Velus, he lets his hair grow for 30 days. And over there, how do we know Nazir, Stam Nazir is a Shloshim Yom? So I'm a Rav Masna, Stam Nazir, Shloshim Yom. My time, I'm a Kral, the Pasuk says, Kodesh Yiyah. It says, Pasuk says, Kodesh Yiyah, Yiyah, B'Gmatcha, Tlas and Having, right? Yiyah, right? 5 or 10, 5, 10, 5 is equals 30 for 30 days, Stam Nazirs. And Amar Rav Huna B'Rei Rav Yeshua, HaKol Moedim Shechal Shlishi Shalol Yos Erev HaRegel. That which you talk about 3 days, right? Erev Regel, She'aser B'Rechitza Ad Erev, right? This is also another thing that we don't do now, right? That if it was 3 days that it was cut off, so the third day you have to do a full 3 days, right? Full 3 days, and you can't bathe before Yontif. And Amarav, Nechemi B'Rei Rav Yeshua Ashkenazin, Rav Papi Rav Papa, we found Rav Papi Rav Papa the Yasvi Kamri Halach Rav Huna. Rav Huna, Rav Yeshua, who said that you have to go ahead and do the full 3 days, and you can't go ahead and bathe until you take a cold, let's say, bath or whatever it is on the night of Yontif. And Ikadami, some of the version Amarav Nechemi B'Rei Rav Yosef Ashkenazin, Rav Papi Rav Papa, they found Rav Papi and Rav Papa, Rav Huna, Rav Yeshua, Rav Yeshua, the Yasvi Kamri, all three of them, they were sitting and saying, Kamri Hakol Modim. Everyone agrees that if the 3 days fell out, right, on Erev HaRegel, those 2 days, then you have to go ahead and can't wash the entire day. Now, boy b'nei, Abaye may, excuse me, may Rabba. So Abaye is question Rabba. Kavru b'regel. They go, one person passes, he has a relative that passes away, basically on Yontif. So Kavru b'regel, they go ahead and they bury him on the holiday. So regel oilo leminish shloshim. Oh, in regel oilo leminish shloshim. Do we start counting the shloshim from the day of where he passed away, or do we wait until after Yontif? Now, leminish shiva like we're not asking does the shiva those days count deloy nahag mitzvah shiva b'regel because you're not knowing the mitzvah of shiva b'regel. Kikavi boile leminish shloshim. We're asking about the shloshim. You're going to have a mitzvah shloshim b'regel because he had the mitzvah of shloshim. As we saw earlier, some shitas that go beyond the regular. Samai, what's el achaler? Samalei, eina oila. It does not count towards the shlosh. Does not count. So he's fine. So Esve has a bit of a kasha, which we go a little bit into Chafam and Aleph, right? So Esve akaver has meis shnei yom kaidem haregel. If one goes ahead and buries his mace 2 days before Yontif, right? Not the 3 days, 2 days before haregel. Maina, he counts the days. Maina chamishi yom haregel. So he does 2 before. Right, he has the Yontif, then he has 5 afterwards because he didn't go ahead and mourn a full 3 days before, which our Mishnah established. And now the people need to do work; they can do it for him afterwards. And his servants, and they can go ahead and they do work for him. And the Rabbim don't need to go ahead and come visit him afterwards. Why? Because they already sort of, visit him during the regal, during Chalmai, they spoke, they consoled him, right? And Klal Shel. So what is the rule of manner? Kol shehu mishum avel. Anything, let's say all the restrictions of avelus, regal mafsiko. Then the regal is mafsiko. Kol shehu mishum iskei rabim. But some which is iskei rabim. Right, like Tadchumi, for the tuition, okay, right? Ein regel mafsigo. Then the holiday does not stop. In other words, they can go ahead and continue to be menachem him even during the regel. Cover shlosh yamim. So in now cover shlosh yamim b'sof haregel. If he goes ahead and he has to bury some in the last 3 days of the Yontif. So mona shiva achar regel. Then those days don't count. Then he counts 7 days achar regel. Right, so therefore he has 7 days afterwards. So Arbiyam Arishon. So, but however, let's say it was the first 4 days, right? Arbiyam Arishon Rabbim is asking bo, right? Shloshim Achronim Rabbim is asking bo. So over there, in that case, Shekran is asking about in that case where he buried the first 3 days. So the first 4 days, right, of the Shiva. So people are misasek him. Right? They see how he's doing. They give them Shiva calls, right? But however, the last 3 days they don't need to do it because they already did it. They already had the 3 day head start during the regel. The regel olelo, and the Yontif counts for it. The Gemara says my lava seifa is not going in the seifa. Talking about the shloshim, and we see that the days do count for the shloshim. That was the kasha. The Gemara says no, lo aresha. It's talking about where it was before. When he buried 2 days before, which is the first case, was the aresha. When he cares 2 days before, that's when the regel continues to count. But if the guy would have died on Yontif, then we don't count the shloshim days until afterwards. All right, we'll stop here at the 8th. Everybody have a wonderful day.